What's up, guys? Welcome to Ray and Linus Reviews. Today, I'm gonna give you guys a quick, well, not a quick. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but I'm gonna redo my review of Cloverfield. Or you know what? I'm not gonna redo. I'm going to explain Cloverfield paradox because it seems like a lot of people are they don't understand what's going on with the movie. They don't understand like a lot of people are lost on it. It's lost on them. And I can understand why because a lot of people like the movie series or project, I don't know what you could necessarily call it. It's like it's very um there's a lot that goes into it. They have an ARG, a game that you can play, and basically it helps you learn more and more about the movie's universe, each one. And if you never played it or never heard anything about it, I didn't play it, but I did look into it. I did watch videos about it, and there's a lot of stuff that you should know if you watch the if you've looked up videos about the Cloverfield universe or wanted to know more. Because I was afraid that they weren't going to do another Cloverfield until Cloverfield Lane came out, and I was like, oh shit. And then they're like, oh, well, we're going to do Cloverfield. Um, they're saying the God particle. Now it's the paradox, which is awesome. It's still the same thing. And then we have Overlord, which comes out in the fall, which is like a Nazi zombies type thing, which I don't know. Like that sounds pretty dope. But they also said that this movie or this movie series is an anthology, so it's not all the same story. And people are comparing it to Black Mirror. Um, I could have sworn this Cloverfield was out before Black Mirror, and when they planned to make the movie, like the next movie, it wasn't gonna be like a direct sequel. It was gonna be they were thinking anthology. So um, kudos to them. That's cool. One of the gripes I heard was that the Asian lady, I can't remember her name, or I don't even know her name. She was she was speaking Cantonese or something, and they're like, well, how does everybody know her? How does everybody know what she's saying? And that was stupid as shit. Like they're a crew, like they have to know what everybody's saying. Like you can't have a group of astronauts go up into space for more than 100 days and not know what one of the people is saying. Like that's pretty stupid. Like they're a group. They're gonna they're gonna know what she's saying because it's very important. They're working together to do something that can be very dangerous, and if they don't know what she's saying, then what's the point of her being there? Another thing, people are trying to understand why the worms ended up in his body. Well, when they ripped through space and time, like things shifted. Like he ended up somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be. The worms ended up somewhere where they weren't supposed to be. So, I mean, like when there's a shift in space and time, like sometimes things don't end up where they're supposed to be. Um, it's like when I guess Nightcrawler from X-Men. It's like when he teleports, he has to see where he's going, or else like he'll end up in a wall and die. That's basically what happened. They teleported to another dimension, and the worms ended up teleporting into his body. Um, the arm. They're like, how did his arm get? What was going on with the arm? Well, that's another example of time, like a rip in space and time. Like it's hard to explain what it would be like because we've never necessarily experienced it, except for the possible people who say that they time travel and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's real. I don't know if I even want to believe that, but still, if that's possible, if they were to change anything, like they say, oh well, if you step on a butterfly, like something could blow up, or you're never born, stuff like that. This is true because if you're changing a point in time, then the timeline's going to be totally different because certain events aren't going to happen because of that. And basically, he teleported, like, he was in a time where his arm was, I guess his arm was possibly doing something totally. I can't explain that shit, but I know it has something to do with space and time being ripped apart. It's not very confusing, but it's not easy to explain. I'm not a fucking scientist or anything like that, so I don't know everything, but yeah, like it has to deal with the rip in space and time. That's why his arm was able to still move and basically sentient because his body was technically there but somewhere else. And I guess in that part of time, like he lost his arm. Maybe I don't know. The other thing was they were trying to figure out. Um, they didn't like another example of space and time being changed in the alternate timeline where the girl who teleported into the spaceship with the wires through her body. The reason the reason she didn't trust the reason that they didn't trust the German was because one, the Russian was already suspicious of him, and that was the timeline from the other one, from the other Earth or the other dimension. The other dimension, he he's already suspicious of the German guy, and the German guy in the other dimension, he did mess up. He did sabotage the mission, but in this timeline he didn't, and he wasn't working for the German government or anything like that. So that's why the Russian guy thought that he was like that because like in the other timeline it transferred over to him. That's why he's thinking, oh well, blah blah blah. Um, People didn't understand the instant freeze. That was a malfunction with the ship because when they did the first particle collide, it fucked up a lot of stuff. That's why the ship wasn't acting right. Um, what else? The Cloverfield monster or the monsters on Earth. Whenever they did the first particle collide, it might have brought the monsters from another Earth or another timeline or dimension, whatever you want to call it. It might have brought them to the timeline that he was in. That's why they were destroying everything because it wasn't like that at first. There was no monsters all of a sudden. Um, so and it makes you think that it is 2008 Cloverfield, but so far they haven't confirmed that, and I'm thinking that it's not 2008 because it clearly says that it's 2028. So that means that the Earths are colliding, like their timelines are mixing into one another, and it's kind of like spoon fed to you when you listen to the little interview that's on the news. I guess a lot of people didn't pay attention to it. And their one subtle connection to 10 Cloverfield Lane is that Howard Stambler either has a brother or he was named something else in a different timeline. That's why Mark Stambler is the author and not the satellite research, or I forgot. They have a very special name for it, but that's why he's not that. So I have a feeling that the Cloverfield Lane will either be tied to the next Cloverfield Overlord or whatever you want to call it. But I hope this helped. I hope I didn't confuse anybody, but a lot of people didn't understand it and hated it for them not being able to understand it. And that's the thing that sucks about like movies sometimes. Like people, like if people don't understand it whatnot. They're like, oh, it sucked, it wasn't good, and like reviewers like Grace Randolph and Double Toasted. I love Double Toasted, but they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Like they seem very confused when they talk about their when they talk about the movie. Like they didn't give any solid reasons as to why anything was bad in the movie. They didn't give any solid reasons to they didn't even they didn't seem to understand like what the movie was about. So I hope you guys understand. If you don't, let me know. Like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, I can explain it better by writing it down. Um, but yeah, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys next time.